Well, thank you everybody for joining us for tonight's Pedley Spreading Ground Ponds Enhancement Project virtual meeting. My name is Candrielle Clark. I'm a Public Affairs and Funding Specialist with Stantec, who's been consulted or contracted to help with engineering and outreach and engagement for the Pedley project. On the line, we also have two people who are presenting with me, Jorge Anaya from the city of Pomona. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Jorge Anaya. I'm with the City of Pomona, Senior Water Resources Engineer and also Project Manager.
Thanks, Jorge. Also with us, we have John Abelson from the Stantec team. John, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Andrea. Yep, John Abelson here, Senior Civil Engineer with Stantec, and I am the Consultant Project Manager on this project.
Thanks, John. We also have another group of team members from the project team. At this time, if we have any public or elected officials on the call, can you go ahead and unmute your mic and introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm a resident of Claremont. My name's Angie, and I think I live right around the corner from this project.
Nice to meet you, Angie.
Yes, you too.
Okay, hearing none else, we'll get forward with our presentation. So today's agenda is going to include a brief set of instructions on the format of today's meeting. We're also going to go over the welcome introductions, which is just a little bit of information on the project partners and how this project came to be. Then we're going to jump into some background and overview on what the Pedley Spreading Grounds is and its purpose in our community, as well as what the project is and how the project is going to augment the Pedley Spreading Grounds. And then finally, a little bit of information on how you can get involved and stay involved in the project. So with that, we're going to get into the Zoom webinar function. On your screen, you should see a toolbar at the bottom with several buttons. The only ones you really need to pay attention to are the microphone, camera, the group of people, the chat box, and the little smiley face. With those, you can change your audio input and output, turn your camera on and off, see who's currently in the call. You can communicate with us non-verbally via the chat or by providing reactions via the little button with the smiley face. That means throwing up some claps or raising your hand if you have a question. Now, for the purposes of the presentation, we're going to kindly ask that everyone keep themselves muted during the presentation, just to make sure that we can press forward at a timely pace and be respectful of everyone's time and get you out of here at 7 on the dot, if not sooner. And I'm going to push forward with our first poll question. Now, we're going to go ahead and test out that Zoom function and ask, how aware are you of the PSG and its contribution to the community's water supply? You should see a pop-up on your screen with the question and several answers. Go ahead and pick one. We'll give everyone about 30 seconds to answer. And that's our 30 seconds. All right, it looks like a majority of you are somewhat aware of the Pedley Spreading Grounds, a few of you not aware at all, with a combined majority of mostly to very aware. So that's really good. We've got some pretty in-tune people here on the call with us today. Now I'm going to pass it off to Jorge, who's going to give you a little bit of information on the PSG and how this project came to be.
Thank you, Candra. We appreciate everyone's attendance. We're really excited to partner with you specifically on this project. Like I said, I am the project manager on behalf of the City of Pomona. And can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so what you're seeing on the screen right now is a group of partners and the roles in this specific project. So in this case, the City of Pomona is the project owner and site owner. We are also the project proponent, and the City of Claremont is a major partner in this specific effort. Stantec, as you guys met, they're our project consultant, And another group of partners that you see participating in this specific project is the Six Basins Water Master. You're seeing a bullet point list of the agencies that are part of this. You'll also see the City of Pomona, City of Claremont, neighboring agencies, and you might recognize some other names there as well. Another group is the East San Gabriel Valley Watershed Management Group, which you can also see Pomona and Claremont there as well. And I want to highlight this because the City of Claremont has been our partner since the beginning of this project. This project also was proposed in one of the agencies that we're going to be reporting to is the California Water Boards. So they're going to be our regulating agency as we continue to monitor this project. And one of the major components here is the Safe Clean Water Program, which is providing funds to conduct this project. So this project went to the Safe Clean Water Program Advisory Committee. It was selected due to the support that it was gaining, and it's also being managed by the LA County Public Works. So this is just a group of individuals that are supporting this project, and we're happy to continue partnering with the neighboring community. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to John Abelson.
Thanks, Jorge. And you can take us to the next slide, please. So I'm going to go through some of the more technical aspects of the project, explain what we're going to be doing and things like that. So I kind of wanted to start off this presentation by going through what is a spreading ground. So Pedley Spreading Ground is an unlined excavation that is used to spread stormwater and get it into the groundwater basin. Historically, groundwater would be recharged through just natural rainfall and passing through pervious layers of earth. But in paving over Los Angeles, we have created an environment that causes urban runoff to go into storm drains and ultimately wash into the ocean. So Pedley Spreading Grounds is kind of undoing some of that impervious layer and creating an unlined excavation for us to store, impound, and infiltrate some of this stormwater to recharge our groundwater. A lot of the thought behind this is to get water into the ground to store it for future conditions. As everyone knows, we are in a drought, and projects like this are very beneficial in helping to mitigate some of those drought effects and using our groundwater aquifer as a bank, so to speak. Next slide, please. So what is the reason to treat urban runoff? This is water that runs off of that impervious area, things like driveways, roadways, and things like that. Urban runoff collects non-point source pollutants. So these are pollutants that can't be traced back to a single discharge point. So these are things like pet waste, leaves, fertilizers, motor oil, detergent, trash, things that people don't knowingly put into the water system, but just by existing as humans, these things are created and run off. So this urban runoff, when it rains on our urban watersheds, it carries these pollutants into our waterways. And some of why we're implementing this project is to treat this urban runoff. So stormwater capture and pre-treatment helps eliminate some of these pollutants in order to protect streams, creeks, the ocean, and things of that nature. Next slide, please. So I'll be going over some background about the Pedley Spreading Grounds Enhancement Project and the Pedley Spreading Grounds as a whole and how this project came to be. But before I go through the background, I wanted to show a photo of what Pedley Spreading Grounds looks like during dry weather. So this is the current condition of Pedley Spreading Grounds. It is dry most of the time, and is just an unlined excavation of earth in the ground here. Next slide, please. So I'll start on a high level and kind of zoom into our actual project here. So how is groundwater managed? So the Six Basins Water Master oversees the health of groundwater basins in this region. It consists of the different agencies that Jorge went through earlier, and they oversee not only the water quality within the basin, but also the water supply. And this 70% is 70% of the water is sourced from groundwater wells. So it is an integral part of this area's water supply. And Pedley Spreading Grounds contributes approximately 500 acre feet a year, currently benefiting this groundwater basin. An acre foot is the amount of water that it takes to cover an acre 1 foot deep. So it is a pretty overt term that is hard for a lot of people to get their head around, but I like to think of 1 acre foot of water being enough to supply 2 households of water per year. So 1 acre foot is enough for 2 households. That means 500 acre feet is enough for about 1,000 households of water. So the Pedley Spreading Grounds does supply a significant amount of water for the region currently, and we're looking to enhance that as a part of this project and add to that. Next slide, please. So how did this project come to be? Where did it come from? Whose idea was it? So the Six Basins Water Master foresaw a declining groundwater amount, and they wanted to look at a way to enhance their groundwater recharge while also helping the municipal separate stormwater permittees comply with cleaning up their urban waterways. So it's a win-win, and multi-benefit projects are kind of the future. So they undertook a study starting in 2018 and ultimately concluding in 2020, called the Reconnaissance Level Recharge Study in the Six Basins. This study ultimately identified a plethora of projects that could be brought forth to the Safe Clean Water program or other programs, both to clean up our urban waterways and enhance the groundwater recharge in the area. The Pedley Spreading Grounds project was identified as one of the most cost-effective projects, and thus was selected as one of the first projects to move forward to the Safe Clean Water program. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Pedley Spreading Grounds can help East San Gabriel Valley Watershed Management Group, a project partner on this, comply with the state stormwater permit. So the recommendation is to increase Pedley Spreading Grounds capacity to capture additional stormwater from surrounding storm drains. And we took this project to a funding entity, and with the community support, as Jorge alluded to, we were able to get this project awarded $2.8 million worth of funding from the San Gabriel River Watershed Area Steering Committee. And here we are today implementing that project. Next slide, please. So zooming in on the project location, the Pedley Spreading Grounds project is located at 1691 Longwood Avenue in Claremont, California. It consists of 3 spreading basins and currently receives stormwater coming from a 42-inch and an 18-inch storm drain from the neighborhood north of the project location, but south of the 210 freeway. The spreading grounds also receive water from the adjacent Pedley filtration plant, which receives water from San Antonio Creek. This water is treated at Pedley Spreading Grounds, treated at Pedley filtration plant for drinking water supply, but in times of high turbidity or backwashing of the filter, the Pedley filtration plant discharges this water into the Pedley spreading grounds for augmenting of the groundwater supply. So this project is not in any way associated with the Pedley filtration plant. It's just associated with the Pedley spreading grounds, which is in order to augment our groundwater supply and not for drinking water supply. There is also an existing 30-inch storm drain that contributes minimum flow into Pedley spreading grounds. I'll be going over this 30-inch storm drain and what we plan to do with it in the future. And finally, CEQA is being performed for the project. So CEQA is the California Environmental Quality Act that ensures that the quality of life or the quality of the environment is not being significantly degraded or changed in any way by the implementation of the project. And if it is changed in any way, that those effects are mitigated or negated. Next slide, please. So in going over the project's objectives and benefits, I also wanted to share what the Pedley spreading grounds look like full of water. And this photo is after a storm event. So this is what it looks like, minimally full of water. We're hoping to get a little bit more water in the Pedley spreading grounds in the future, but this is what it currently looks like, or it looks like after a storm. Next slide, please. So what are the project objectives? I kind of already went through a lot of this, but it is to meet the benefits claimed in the Safe Clean Water Regional Program application. So as a part of that application and contingent upon our funding for the project, we have to meet the benefits claimed in that application. So that's augmenting a certain amount of water supply and cleaning a certain amount of urban runoff and things like that. There is a little bit of leeway in the scope of work for how exactly we go about achieving these benefits, but it is necessary that we achieve the benefits that were claimed in the funding request. The next objective is to recharge the groundwater. So in order to help Six Basins, in order to help Pomona and the city of Claremont, we need to create a drought-proof local water supply. And in order to do that, we need to essentially spread the stormwater for current and future generations. And then finally, to direct the local urban runoff into the existing spreading grounds. Next slide, please. So as I alluded to earlier, I'll go through the existing 30-inch storm drain along Mills Avenue. So in the evolution of this project, we were planning on taking stormwater from Mills Avenue only, from approximately a 40-acre drainage area, and diverting it into Pedley spreading grounds. But we were able to locate in the site investigations portion of this project a 30-inch storm drain that currently exists from Baseline Avenue to Pedley spreading grounds that's connected to a major LA County flood control district storm drain. So one of the project objectives quickly changed to reoperating this 30-inch storm drain to take the larger drainage area. We went through, performed some quick calculations, and per storm event, it's going to increase the spreading at Pedley filtration plant, or at Pedley spreading grounds, by 7.64 acre feet. So this project, every storm event, will be able to supply 7.64 acre feet of water. That's approximately 15 houses per storm event per year. Another objective for the project is to regrade the Pedley spreading grounds to increase their capacity and add pre-treatment to the water being discharged to Pedley spreading grounds. So there's things to get like leaves out and trash and things, so that doesn't get into the spreading grounds and cause an operational nightmare. And then finally, we also want, as a two slides forward, to be helpful to the public, and educate them about the benefits of such water quality projects, provide an educational feature at the park located to the north of Pedley Spreading Grounds. This park, and I'll go to this a little bit later, will provide an educational overlook and trees, local California native plantings, and things of that nature. So next slide, please. Finally, just to summarize, this project will increase the water supply by deepening the ponds and allowing a controlled amount of urban runoff from a drainage area of approximately 375 acres. So this is a very significant area of Claremont that is going to be treated, or the urban runoff is going to be treated and augmenting the groundwater. Another benefit is to improve the water quality by decreasing the impact of non-source pollutants, as I defined earlier in the presentation, and then also protecting the water quality in nearby and downstream water bodies. Next slide, please. So what are the community benefits to this project, in addition to the water supply and water quality enhancement? The city of Pomona would also like to enhance the public green space as a part of this project. So the city currently owns a parcel south of Radcliffe Drive and east of Schrappel Park. They would like to turn this into a community amenity to show the benefits of water spreading and water quality projects and things like that. So on the next slide, I'll kind of go through a rendering of what we envision this community benefit could probably look like. Next slide, please. So this is just a preliminary concept of what the community outlook and we're calling it a parklet feature could look like on Radcliffe, south of Radcliffe Drive, but north of Pedley Spreading Grounds. We're envisioning California native plantings, trees, a bioswale, and potentially a way for the community to be educated about what is going on in Pedley Spreading Grounds, what is this big unlined excavation in the neighborhood behind me, because we do want people to know about where their water comes from and the benefits of what these big unlined excavations are supposed to do. So next slide, please. So I'll be passing it back to Condriel now to discuss how to be involved with this project.
Thanks, John. So there are a number of ways that you can contribute to the project, both now in this meeting, after this meeting, and in the coming month. Within that, you have providing input via survey, providing questions and comments via email, and helping us spread the word. We would like to have everybody be comfortable with the information they've heard today and anything they've seen in the materials that we've sent out. So if you have any further questions or comments and we aren't able to get to them today, or they require further discussion, feel free to shoot us an email at psgenhancementproject.stantec.com. In the interim, or after you've had all your questions answered, please feel free to jump in and fill out our SurveyMonkey. It's only going to take about 3 minutes, and it's going to give you the opportunity to provide input on the type of greenery you see at the parklet, the type of stations that you see there, or the number of stations, and everything in between. As you can see, there's a QR code on your screen. You can access the survey a couple of ways. One, by opening up your camera on your phone and hovering it over the QR code. That'll open up a link to the survey and you can do it from there. Or you're going to see right now in the chat, there is a link to the survey. You can click it from there as well, whatever is most convenient for you. We're also going to be sending out the link to the survey in follow-up communications, as well as posts on the City of Pomona's website, along with a recording of tonight's meeting. Now, after you've done any initial question or comments and have taken the survey, we're going to also ask that you help us spread the word about the project. That means talking to your friends and family, getting in contact with your neighbors, and letting them know that not only is the Pedley spreading grounds there, because not everybody is aware of it, but also that the project is occurring, and here's where you can go to learn more information about what the project is going to do to the spreading grounds and how it's going to contribute to the community's water supply. Once you've done that, there's one more thing you can do, which is come to our in-person meeting, which is scheduled for November. On the evening of November 30th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., we're going to be having an in-person overview of this project, the meeting you've heard today, and also the input that you have provided us along the way. All of that input is going to be analyzed and rolled up into sort of a presentation on how we think we can best integrate your opinions into the project. Again, that's going to be on November 30th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Chaparral School right next to the spreading grounds in the multipurpose room.